Good morning, BookTube, YouTube. This is Johnny. Time to make a video. It's a Friday. Friday reads. It is 9:20 in the morning here in Holland, Michigan. It is October the 24th, 2025. Yeah. As you all know, I'm sitting in our dining room, and all around I can see through windows to our sunroom. It is gray, cold, dismal, ugly. What I find interesting is that the leaves have not fallen from the trees like they usually do by this time. And there is some leaves have fallen, but most of them trees have the leaves still on them. So I'm writing in my paper diary. I'm on page 865 for the year 2025. Yeah, I usually hit around 1,000 pages before the end of the year. So, reading for morning devotions, Theological, Practical Theology, The Application of Redemption, and the Church, Volume 5. I read that this is published by Reformation Heritage Books in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Volumes 6 and 7 are supposed to come out next year, 2026, and that will complete the whole set. So if you're on a desert island and you don't, what books would you take? I'd take the Bible, St. John of the Cross works. I would take probably Isaac Ambrose, Looking Unto Jesus, and I would take Van Manstraet, and I would take a Psalter, how to sing the Psalms. Anyway, as far as the Psalms, there's a Psalm that keeps going through my mind, and I thought I would read it this morning. I keep this by my little place here, my little office. And Psalm 71 keeps going through my mind, and I thought I would read it for Friday reads. It says in Psalm 71, starting at verse 1, "In thee, O Lord, do I put my trust. Let me never be put to confusion. Deliver me in thy righteousness, and cause me to escape. Incline thy ear unto me, and save me. Be thou my strong habitation, whereunto I may continually resort. Thou hast given commandment to save me, for thou art my rock and my fortress. Deliver me, O my God, out of the hand of the wicked, out of the hand of the unrighteous and cruel man. For thou art my hope, O Lord God, thou art my trust from my youth. Be thou, by thee have I been holden up from the womb. Thou art he that took me out of my mother's bowels. My praise shall be continually of thee. I am as a wonder unto many, but thou art my strong refuge. Let my mouth be filled with thy praise, and with thy honor all the day. Cast me not off in time of old age. Forsake me not when my strength faileth. For my enemies speak against me, and they that lay wait for my soul take counsel together, saying, God has forsaken him. Persecute and take him, for there is none to deliver him. O God, be not far from me. O my God, make haste for my help. Let them be confounded and consumed that are adversaries to my soul. Let them be covered with reproach and dishonor that seek my hurt. But I will hope continually, and will yet praise thee more and more. My mouth shall show forth thy righteousness and thy salvation all the day, for I know not the numbers thereof. I will go in the strength of the Lord God. I will make mention of thy righteousness, even of thine only. O God, thou hast taught me from my youth. Hitherto have I declared thy wondrous works. Now also, when I am old and gray-headed, O God, forsake me not, until I have showed thy strength unto this generation, and thy power to everyone that is to come. Thy righteousness also, O God, is very high. Thou hast done great things, O God, who is like unto thee? Thou which hast showed me great and sore troubles shall quicken me again, and shall bring me up again from the depths of the earth. Thou shalt increase my greatness and comfort me on every side. I will also praise thee with the psaltery and the truth, O my God. Unto thee will I sing with the harp, O thou Holy One of Israel. My lips shall greatly rejoice when I sing unto thee, and my soul which thou hast redeemed. My tongue also shall talk of thy righteousness all the day long, for they are confounded, for they are brought into shame that seek my hurt. So I thought Psalm 71 just keeps going through my mind, so I thought I'd just share it. One thing, I have a hard time focusing these days. My eyes get watery, and I think I need new glasses, I think. So I'm reading Theological, Practical Theology, Application of Redemption in the Church, Volume 5 by Peterson and Manstrip. Still reading this week, In Your Light We See Light, Reformed Theology of Divine Illumination by Paul C. Ewan. And yeah, I'm going on to chapter 5, Economy of Illumination in Roman Catholic Tradition. And I just read on the Eastern Orthodox tradition, and then it goes to Roman Catholic tradition of divine illumination, and then it goes into the economy of illumination in the Reformed tradition, and then part 3 of the book, Economy of Illumination, a dogmatic account. So I haven't got much into The Eternal Son by Robert Leppin, but I do plan to make an attempt to read this. And I'm still reading Thomas Goodwin, the great Puritan divine gospel preacher on Christ the Mediator, in volume 5 of the works of Thomas Goodwin. And reading Meet the Puritans, revised and expanded edition by Joel R. Beakey, Randall Peterson, and Fraser Jones. So yeah, before I turned on this camera, I was kind of reluctant to make a video because I haven't been feeling right lately. It's like I always feel like I'm on the edge of madness. I really do. It's kind of strange. Now, next week I see my psychologist, and I'm going to ask him about this. You know, this sense of foreboding or just exhaustion or anxiety. It's kind of like I'm always like feeling I'm going to go over the edge, but I constantly pray to God to give me the grace and strength to just get through each day. And but it's kind of freaky because I don't want to have like, you know, a nervous breakdown or have an episode where I feel like I should be locked up in some kind of insane a nut house or something. So you have to just live by faith, you know. Every day you go to God at the throne of grace and cry out for mercy. So yeah, I read that psalm and I keep going through my mind, and I got to put this little magnifying thing where this book was, you know. Yeah, life is hard. There in verse 16 of Psalm 71, I will go in the strength of the Lord. That's what I will do. I will go in the strength of the Lord. I have, I got to, as far as what I'm reading, I mentioned I'm reading Fox in the Attic by Richard Hughes. I start reading this. I've read 101 pages. I just finished reading his High Winds of Jamaica, and I've been reading this. Still reading essays by William Hazlitt, and I got this from the Book Nook. These are Table Talk original essays by William Hazlitt. And I'm still almost done with Remarkable Collection of Angels, A History of the Sixth Gallery Reading by David S. Will. Yeah, I think I'm on the last, I'm almost done. I've read 287 pages. So, and I just start reading, I've been reading the biography I bought recently, Gertrude Stein, An Afterlife by Francesca Wade. Yeah, I read her book, Square Haunting 5 Writers in London Between the Wars. I showed you that. I read that, and she's really a good writer. She's really good, and I've really been, as you know, I collect Gertrude Stein, her writings, biographies. I have a whole shelf down the lower level. So, and still reading Love in the Time of Hate, Art and Passion in the Shadow of War by Florian Illies. This is translated by Simon Pare. I think he's German. And then I got 2 new books, and I'm always on Amazon looking at books or reading reviews. And I came across, as I mentioned, Amazon keeps track of me. You know, they own Library Thing, and they probably watch my Goodreads, and I'm sure they know what I buy because Amazon. And they know I'm into biographies, and they showed this biography, and I didn't know it was out. And I ordered it, and it came the next day. And it's called True Nature, The Pilgrimage of Peter Matthiessen by Lance Richardson. I have been reading Peter Matthiessen for years. He wrote novels. He was an environmental activist. He spoke out against the mistreatment of American Indians. He wrote all kinds of books, and I was going to show those books, and I might still do that because there's a whole shelf of them. He was a very interesting person. He died when he was 86. And I didn't know there was a biography of him, and I just got this yesterday, and I really look forward to getting into it. Yeah, I'll show you the Peter Matthiessen books if you want to. I have a whole shelf of them. Natural history. His most famous book was published like a Penguin classic called The Snow Leopard that inhabits the Himalaya mountains. And he wrote all kinds of books, and I'll show those. But I look forward to reading this after I finish reading Gertrude Stein. We talked about biographies. Last night I was looking. I knew that Richard Percy Graves, who wrote books and poetry and all kinds of books, I found out that he wrote a biography on Richard Hughes, and I found a copy over in England, and I ordered that last night. So I'm getting a biography on the British. Maybe it wasn't British. I can't remember. Maybe it was Scottish I don't remember. Maybe it says here. He attended Oxford. Richard Hughes, 1900 to 1976, attended Oxford and lived for most of his life in a castle in Wales. So, another book I got, and it's called The Last Great Dream, How Bohemians Became Hippies and Created the Sixties, by Deniis McNally. I bought this book because I buy all of his books, McNally's books, and as you all know, I am a student of avant-garde, Bohemianism, the 60s, the Beats, the Lost Generation, Bloomsbury, the American Transcendentalists, any kind of art or literary movement, the New York City poets, the abstract painters in New York City in the 50s, 40s, 50s, pop culture, Andy Warhol. I'm into popular culture, you know, punks and extreme music. You know. I'm into those kind of things. So when this came out, I think this came out, it could have come out last year. Let me see, no, 2025. So it's called The Great Dream, How Bohemianism Became Hippies and Created the 60s, by Deniis McNally. Now, when I was in Houston doing my internship in the 80s, I bought this book by Deniis McNally, Desolate Angel, a biography of Jack Kerouac, the Beat Generation, and America. And I bought this when we were in Houston, some bookstore. So I bought this, really enjoyed it when maybe I have a bookmarker where I bought it. Let me see here. No. Anyway, here's a picture of it, Jack Kerouac. On the far there's Ferengeti and Jack Kerouac. So I bought this, and then I bought next, I don't know what, I got Deniis McNally on Highway 61, Music, Race, and the Evolution of Cultural Freedom. This is really interesting. He goes into it's kind of basically the history of the blues, Delta blues, things like, it's just very interesting if you're into Highway 61, Music, Race, and the Evolution of Cultural Freedom. It says here on the back, on Highway 61 explores the significance of African American music in the evolution of cultural freedom by examining the historical context and deeper roots of mainstream America's culture and musical progression. Beginning with individuals like Thoreau and Mark Twain, the process broadens into mass encounters with African American music forms, ragtime, blues, and jazz, that would, with their deviations, dominate popular music to this day. Ragtime, with its syncopation, would become the cutting edge of the modern 20th century with popular dances. The blues would combine with syncopation and improvisation and create jazz. Maturing at the hands of Louis Armstrong, it would soon attract the cluster of young white musicians who found love with black music and were inspired to play it themselves. It was See, my eyes just went blurry. It was not long before these young white rebels were the masters of American pop music. Big band swing. And it goes on and on. So then, and then I found this at some thrift store, Long Strange Dream Inside the History of the Grateful Dead by Deniis McNally. From 1965 to 1993, like Grateful Dead flourished as one of the most beloved, unusual, my mind, I can't see, unusual and accomplished musical entities to ever grace American culture. The creative combination among Jerry Garcia, Bob Weir, Phil Lesh, and Bob Cruzman, Mickey Hart, and Ron Pipin McKernan exploded out of the artistic firmament of the early 60s roots and folk scene, providing the soundtrack for the Deniis rebels of the counterculture. To those who know, The Dead was an ongoing tour of divorce, a band whose constant commitment to exploring new realms laid at the center of a 30-year journey through an ever-shifting array of musical, cultural, and mental landscapes. Deniis McNally, the band's historian and publicist for more than 20 years. So he wrote this book on the Grateful Dead. So yeah, I'm a student of American culture, music, art, literature, religion, politics. I'm an American. That's just what I am. So, and that's what I'll show you. So I got this, The Last Great Dream, How Bohemians Became Hippies and Created the Sixties. It's his newest book. So that's my Friday reads. Like I said, I'm kind of on the edge of madness. It's kind of weird. Everything kind of makes me sick. I know I get these kinds of states of being where everything just makes me sick. So what I do, I'm very thankful that I don't have to leave the house. I have Xanax if I get too freaked out. Carol's back. She got back Wednesday at midnight. Uber picked her up at the airport and brought her home. And she's at her church now this morning, helping make pit in the blankets. So, yeah, check out the writings of Peter Matthiessen. He wrote all kinds of books. I mean, he was a man of all kinds of interest. Yeah, he was a one of a kind. So I'll sign off. I'm really finding The Fox in the Attic by Richard Hughes. It kind of goes all over the place. It doesn't really have a focus. But I can read anything. That's what, if I can sit down and spend, all morning reading, Van Manstricht, and I can sit down and read, I can read anything, and I can read this. So I've been reading this at night. I read like Gertrude Stein for my nonfiction in the afternoons, and I read nonfiction in the afternoons, remarkable collection of angels, and then I'll be reading The Last Great Dream, and then in the evenings I read fiction. So I've been reading Fox in the Attic by Richard Hughes. In the mornings I read Christian literature like Van Manstricht, Thomas Goodwin. Carol and we just started reading now that she's back. In the mornings we've been going through the Revelation of Jesus Christ, the last book in the New Testament. So, and at night now we're reading through the prophecy of Daniel before we go to bed, for our evening devotions before we go to bed. So I'll sign off. Like I said, I feel like I'm drowning and I'm trying to keep my head above water. So I hope you had a good reading week. Do thank you for the comments. Do pray you're all doing well. Have a good weekend. Yeah, we're coming to the end of October. When we get into November, we're headed towards winter. It starts snowing. It gets really cold. So I'll sign off. I'll read Van Manstrit, write in my diary, and look to the Lord for grace to keep running the race set before me. So may the Lord bless, and until next time, bye.